You're a weird dude. Dude, you ruined the moment.
It has been a couple of weeks now since Season 3 of Invincible officially ended, and it's safe to say that it made the fanbase go absolutely insane. However, because of the fanbase suddenly not having any new episodes to wait on every week, there is so much more conversation about certain characters than before. We've got Duplicate, who has gotten an enormous amount of hate, and a free Fortnite skin. Rexplode, who went from one of the most hated characters to one of the most loved characters in the show. But another character that has been mentioned more than once, whether through memes or discussions, is Immortal. Immortal started off as a pretty blank character in the very first episode. We see him as a lawful hero, who is dedicated to his duties and honestly, kind of boring. Personally, I think the introduction to Immortal is part of the reason why people dislike him. In Season 1, he is nothing but an obstacle for Omni-Man to overcome. Even when revived by the Twin Maulers, he is still dedicated to only one purpose: taking revenge on Omni-Man, resulting in a B-tier Invincible meme.
Where is he? Where is Omni-Man? Where is he? Where is Omni-Man? Where is Omni-Man? Where is he? Where is Omni-Man?
It's not until his second revival by Cecil that Immortal really starts playing on our nerves. He has a big mouth and constantly seems to question our beloved Mark. And since we spent so much time getting to know and love Mark Grayson, we immediately forget that the Immortal has not actually seen everything we've seen. Apart from this, he also starts a relationship with Duplicate, which just seems inappropriate. Not just because they work together, but also because Immortal is thousands of years older. On top of all of that, we see Immortal do nothing but fail, even against the Mauler twins. And we also see a dictative Immortal from the future, who instead of becoming a dictator and needing to die, could just stop being a dictator and give back the power to the people at any time. And as if that's not enough, he also retires right after the Invincible War. He was needed upon Conquest's arrival. In a team composition with Mark and Eve, he definitely could have prevented damage to our lovebirds. So why does my title claim that Immortal is misunderstood? He very clearly seems like he's just a bad person. Well, the main reason is because we underestimate just how tough it is to live and die thousands of years over and over again, dedicating yourself to protecting the weak. Remember that Omni-Man has had a life dedicated to Viltrum as well, and after serving his empire loyally for most of his life, he eventually also turned to starting a family. Whether he intended that family to be the Grayson family or the Bug family is up to interpretation. I personally believe Nolan wanted to stick with the family from the moment he was first proud of Mark in the baseball game we see in the flashbacks. It was only because Mark got his powers that Omni-Man fell on his responsibility to Viltrum. Now, Immortal has been on Earth way longer than Nolan has, and based on purely what has been shown in the TV show, he also never took a break for himself, dedicating his entire life, or better said lives, to protecting Earth. After the arrival of Viltrumite heroes like Omni-Man, well, partly, and Mark, he probably felt like he had been replaced by heroes that not only have similar abilities, but also are more indestructible, possess more brutal force, and are many times faster. Imagine you worked at a job for 10 years long, only for a new colleague to come in and do everything better than you do right off the get-go. You might also feel like your position's in danger. And in the case of Immortal, I think he's right. He is not able to keep up with the Viltrum threat. Hell, he's not even able to beat a weaker version of Mark in a fight where he has assistance from other Guardians. This also goes to show just how powerful the old Guardians of the Globes were, because he survived pretty long against Omni-Man. So Immortal is physically outclassed, so what? Mark also gets beaten by everyone every single time and he still keeps going. Well, the difference, apart from the obvious years of experience, is that Immortal actually dies when he fumbles the bag, which is not imaginable for us. As humans, we only live once. He is probably traumatized and incredibly tired, especially because he realizes those deaths will now be even more frequent than before with the ever-rising tensity between Earth and Viltrum. So, Immortal is physically outclassed, mentally broken, and has already given his entire life to Earth. Now, does this make him a good person? I don't think so. He still has a very unfair bias against Mark, not daring to tell Mark about his concerns and criticisms, but instead telling people about what he thinks of Mark behind his back. Mark is one of the most reasonable characters in Invincible, and Immortal knows because he briefly mentions that he doesn't trust Mark, and Mark's response was basically, yeah, fair. Apart from that, the relationship between him and Kate is just very hard to sympathize with. Their attitude towards other people and their lack of chemistry does not make them a memorable couple, just an annoying one. So although criticizing Immortal as a character is completely justified, I don't think he's badly written. He doesn't deserve to be hated either. I don't know how it feels to live and die over and over and over again, thousands upon thousands of years, and I doubt that you would know. Immortal has a right to want to settle down and retire. He has no right to be rude to Mark though, or any of the other Guardians of the Globe, which is the reason why he still deserves to be criticized greatly. But if you hate Immortal with your whole heart, you misunderstood Immortal. But this video is based on me watching Invincible a couple of times and drawing conclusions, so I'd love to hear your conclusions. What do you think of Immortal? Do you think I'm full of shit and I'm just defending an absolute narcissist? Or can you see my point that living and dying thousands upon thousands of years over and over again could probably break you? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I love making Invincible videos, and apparently they do best, so why not, you know? Subscribe and stuff, you know, that's kind of, you know, why I'm here, so hit that subscribe button. Thank you.